Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the man known as Jadon Sancho. The saga linking him with a move away from Borussia Dortmund continues. However, it does seem like this saga is possibly reaching its conclusion and will probably end during this summer, during the upcoming transfer window. We will be talking about Sancho. We will be talking about where his next destination could be. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated as always. But for now, let's get back to talking about the one and only Jadon Sancho. Okay, so for those of you who have been following this entire story, let's just basically recap. Basically, Sancho's professional career properly kicked off with Manchester City, rising through the academy there before moving to Germany and signing with Borussia Dortmund at the age of just 17. And from there, his career really took off. In the past 4 years of being with Dortmund, he's properly set the world alight, the world of football alight. He's become a top player in the Bundesliga despite his age, his young age that is, making 133 appearances for the senior team, scoring 46 times and assisting 62 times. He's become a very important and valuable player for Dortmund over the years. He's also made his England senior debut during that time and is right now a very hot property within the game at just 21 years of age. And for those of you who aren't fully aware of Borussia Dortmund, the Bundesliga team, well, let's just recap them as well, shall we? They're a German club that have an incredible eye for talent. They've helped so many players grow and develop within the game to reach high levels of quality. But the issue for them appears to be that they can never keep hold of them. Dortmund are unfortunately a side that will always be near the top of the Bundesliga. They'll always be near the top. They'll always be within some form of UEFA European tournament, but are unlikely to win them. And the reason is because their squad constantly changes. They find these gems of players hidden within academies of either themselves or of other teams. They find these gems of players and they give them a platform in which to grow and to shine on a big stage before having them taken away by a club who puts a lot of money on the table. Jadon Sancho seems to be the next player to follow in this kind of system, and the likelihood is that Dortmund will keep this cycle going by scouting some new talent to come through, to bring them in for a cheap price, develop them to a high standard, and then sell them on for huge money somewhere down the line. Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham are very likely to be next in line of this kind of system coming to fruition in the coming years. But for Sancho, this move away has seemed to be coming for a while now, past couple of years especially, and the saga that has been with him in the centre of it all appears to be finally reaching its conclusion, with the final chapter to be written this summer when the transfer window is to reopen. Of course, if you remember last season, it was heavily thought that this saga would have ended back then and closed out back then, with Manchester United heavily and strongly linked with signing him, and were frequently reported with being a step or two away from making that deal happen. But of course, as we know, that never truly happened. It never truly came to fruition. But those reports haven't gone away. It's heavily expected that Sancho will be leaving this summer, and reportedly United are still leading the charge for his signature. A few days ago, Fabrizio Romano, the football journalist that we all know and love, came out with a tweet that said Dortmund's sporting director Michael Zorc stated, "We already have a gentleman's agreement with Jadon Sancho since last year that he can leave the club under certain conditions. However, this agreement does not exist with Haaland." And whilst the Haaland situation may be another year or two away from being resolved there, you know, we can come to the conclusion that it does appear that Sancho will be leaving Dortmund this summer. As far as the certain conditions go, again, Romano tweeted today and he stated, Borussia Dortmund will be open to selling Sancho in the summer if the right bid will arrive. After 1 year ago, he was one step away from joining Manchester United. Dortmund will be asking less than 120 million euros to let Sancho leave this year, but no late bids at the end of the window. The reports have been circulating that Dortmund have slashed their asking price, and it's believed that they are asking for something in the region of somewhere between 85 and 90 million euros. Reasons behind this, you can probably point to COVID and the financial losses that the German club, like everybody else, have had to come to terms with on that scale. You could also possibly look at the gentleman's agreement, and at the risk of possibly upsetting Sancho, they will have to let him go in some capacity, even if it means having to make a bit more of a loss than probably what they would have expected to. You could also look at his contract situation. He has 2 years left on his contract with the club. It's extremely unlikely that he would re-sign with Dortmund. So you're cashing on him now, whilst you also get a substantial amount of money for him, rather than other clubs play hardball with you next year at the risk of either upsetting the player further and then possibly losing him on a free transfer a year later. So it's kind of a preemptive strike kind of thing, as well as obviously the other reasons that I mentioned. But the question does remain, where will Jadon Sancho be playing his football next season? Well, obviously, as I mentioned, Manchester United are the reported favourites to be signing him this summer. Securing Sancho is seemingly a top priority for both the club and for manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it would mean that United will also obtain the services of a quality right winger, something they haven't really had in many years at the club. Right wing has been an area where United have lacked quality and depth in recent years, and Sancho could easily fill that void. And given his age, and assuming that everything works out well, he goes to Manchester, he enjoys it there, feels comfortable, and is happy with his football, and is also helping the club in contending for and winning the big trophies that United have won in the past, but they've kind of dried up a little bit over recent years. He could possibly be United's first choice right winger for the next, I don't know, maybe at least for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years to come. He will go into a squad that is in need of a quality right winger who's capable of individual brilliance, as well as being a much needed creative spark in a team that is in need of more creative players. The likes of Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, of course, spring to mind when you think of Man United's creativity, but of course, they can't do it all on their own, and United need depth in that area, and Sancho certainly fits the bill. Plus, with United's usual counter-attacking style of play, you feel that Sancho would suit that style and slot in perfectly. So from everything said in this part of the video, it does sound like a very good fit, doesn't it? Also reportedly in the running are fellow Premier League sides Liverpool and Chelsea. Of course, if it's a financial thing, you'd probably expect that both Chelsea and United have the edge and the advantage over Liverpool in that aspect there. Both in terms of asking price and wages, it seems that those two teams will definitely have the advantage over the Reds. But despite that, and despite Liverpool's current season being as poor as what it is, and even as poor to a point where it's unlikely that the Reds will be qualifying for the Champions League next season, you have to consider that they still have the pull of a manager like Jurgen Klopp. And the chances are that the Reds will certainly be coming back stronger next season. They'll make a stronger case, at the very least, for top 4. We of course know about Liverpool's problems this season and why they've dropped so far down from winning the Premier League title last season to what this season has become. So you do feel that Liverpool will be back with a vengeance next season. Klopp, plus a fan base that will surely take Sancho to heart, a chance to freshen up that front three, and a style of play that will suit him, and a chance to link up with many great names that Liverpool currently have at their disposal within their ranks, and of course, including that right wing kind of link up that you can have with Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know, it may be tempting for the young winger. Overall, when you look at the bigger picture, everything that I spoke about here may tempt Sancho into possibly signing for Liverpool, should, of course, the opportunity arise. As for Chelsea, look, we've seen in the past, if they're in the mood to spend money, then they will definitely do it, and they will swoop in for whoever, and in this case, they will swoop in for Sancho whenever they want, whenever they feel like it, and you feel that Sancho could, you know, he could likely turn up at Stamford Bridge next season. The money aspect is in their favour, and allegedly Sancho grew up being a Chelsea fan, so that may also play a factor in this as well. But the attacking options that Chelsea have at their disposal already are hotly contested. Chelsea may be forced to shuffle through their squad somewhat. For example, if Sancho was to arrive at Stamford Bridge, would that see a guy like Callum Hudson-Odoi out the door and free to leave? There's a lot to consider if Sancho is to go to Chelsea, that's for sure. And look, I suspect there are probably plenty of interest from elsewhere as well, not just from the Premier League, but that league does seem to be the likely destination for where Jadon Sancho will likely end up this summer. And I'd say that if I was to put money on it, on where I think Sancho will be going this summer and where we will be playing his football next season, as much as I want to say Liverpool, as much as I want to say that he will be in a Liverpool shirt next season, and how much I want to see that and how much I would love it if he played for my club, I hate to concede, but I think that he will be going to United, in all honesty. I think that the work that they put in last season will eventually be finished this year. I know it does say a lot about United as a club as to where they are right now, that they weren't able to get the deal done last season, and it's being carried on over into this season, and eventually in the summer it will probably be all wrapped up and United will be signing Sancho, and Sancho will be in a United shirt for next season. But at the end of the day, it does seem a good fit for him. Like I mentioned, all the things that I've said about Sancho and United are quite compatible, so it does seem like that will be the likely destination for Sancho, as much as I hate to admit it. And you know, for the United's sake, they get a quality player. They also save a few million than what they would have done if they'd have signed him last year. But of course, we will have to wait and see if I'm right on this. I pray, like I say, going to Liverpool, but I can honestly see him going to United, in all honesty. But we wait to see on this. We wait to see in the summer, when the transfer window reopens, where Jadon Sancho will be going next season. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of a player like Jadon Sancho? Where do you think that he will be going this summer when the transfer window reopens? Do you think he might perform a shock U-turn and probably stay at Dortmund for another season? Do you think that he will go to one of the three clubs mentioned in the Premier League, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea? Or will there be a last-ditch attempt from elsewhere? Maybe still in the Premier League, maybe from France and PSG, maybe from Spain and Real Madrid, something like that. Maybe somewhere out there that you think a last-ditch bid will come in and maybe Sancho's head will be turned. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions down below in the comment section below. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading on the subject of Jadon Sancho. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content. It's both things always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video.